Hey guys, it's Mrs. C back with another edition of Teaching from my Windowsill. I hope you guys are staying healthy and you're getting some learning done. Today we're going to talk about the area of a trapezoid and a couple of different ways to figure it out. So a trapezoid, if you remember, usually has one shorter side and one longer side, as well as slanted sides going down. We have trapezoid tables in our classrooms. Trapezoids can look slightly different, but I'm going to go with the classical or traditional trapezoid for my diagram with you. There is a formula for figuring out the area of a trapezoid, which we will work out, but I'm also going to show you there's another way to solve them, and another way to solve them that you already actually know how to do all of this stuff. So with the area of a trapezoid, one thing that you can do is a formula. No one expects you to memorize any formulas or anything like that. You usually have a reference tool with you. So what if I have this trapezoid and I say the top here, we're actually going to call this base 1. That's what the B1 stands for, base 1. So base 1 is 3 inches. And the bottom, or the base 2, is going to be 5 inches. And again, height, H stands for height. That's the shortest distance from the top or top to the bottom. I don't want to use any of the diagonal sides they give me. That is not the shortest way. So if I'm saying this one is 2 inches, okay? So just like we've done with every other formula, we are going to just plug in the numbers we know and try to solve it out. I don't know the area yet, so I'm saying area is going to be equal to the height, and in this case the height is 2, times base 1, and it doesn't matter which one's which. Commutative property tells me I can add them in either order, and it's fine, but I usually do the base 1 as the top. So base 1 is 3 inches plus the base 2 is 5 inches. Oops, 5 inches. I need parentheses there. And I'm going to divide the whole thing by 2. Again, you might see some different formulas out there that say it's 1/2 of the height times base 1 plus base 2. But again, anything that we divide by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. So I'm going to use this one because it's a little easier for us to understand. When I get this far, you might notice this looks like PEMDAS, right? So I need to do my grouping symbols first. So I'm going to do 3 plus 5, which is 8. 8 is going to be times 2, and I'm going to end up dividing all of that by 2, which is kind of funny because it's going to end up to be the same thing. So again, when I follow PEMDAS, 2 times 8 is 16. I'm going to take 16 and divide that by 2, and what do you know? I get area is equal to 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 what? Again, I have to go back and put my inches because I'm doing area. It is inches, but it's also inches squared because we are using those 2 dimensions. Okay, so let me show you this another way to do it if you didn't have the formula. If the formula confuses you or you just don't memorize it, which is fine because you don't have to. So let me draw another trapezoid for you. Again, we're going to not worry about my artistic ability while I'm using this contraption. It's hard to see what I'm doing. Remember that this is height, right? And when I look at this trapezoid, if I don't have a formula, I can take this and look at it as a complex shape. Complex shape is a shape that's made up of 2 or more shapes. And if I look at this and I'm careful and I think about it, I can see this as a triangle, another triangle, and a rectangle in between. So I have 3 shapes, and I know you already know how to do the area of a rectangle, and if you've been watching and following along, you have some idea of how to find the area of a triangle. And these triangles, if the drawing was even, would be exactly the same. So we're going to use the same numbers we had. We're saying the height is 2 inches, we're saying the top is 3 inches, and we're saying the bottom is 5 inches. So again, when I'm thinking about complex shapes, I'm thinking about just breaking this up into 3 pieces. You kind of have to imagine it separated a little bit, like here's your triangle, your rectangle, and your other triangle down on the other side, if you can kind of split them up. I know if this top is 3 inches, then the bottom of my rectangle also has to be 3 inches, right? So this is 3 inches. If the height is 2 inches, it stays 2 inches, which is 2 inches. And we know that if I wanted to find the area of this rectangle, I would do area equals length times width. So I'm going to plug in what I know. Area is equal to 2 times 3, which is 6. So that would be 6 inches squared, right? And that is just for the rectangle. Okay, so that's just my rectangle. Now I need to do the area of these triangles. And both of the triangles are the same. So whatever I get for an answer of one triangle, I'm just going to multiply it by 2. So the triangle. Again, my triangle formula is area equals base times height divided by 2. There's some missing numbers here. Like I know the height is already 2, but I have to figure out what the base is. And I want you to think about it like this. If the top is 3 inches and the whole bottom across is 5 inches, well, I know this 3 gets cut out of there. So that leaves me with 2 inches left over. So I can't say just this side is 2 inches because that would leave this guy empty. So we have to share that. So that would mean that this side is 1 inch and this side is 1 inch because 1 plus 1 plus 3 equals 5. So that's going to give me 1 inch on the bottom and 1 inch on the bottom for each of these. So I'm going to plug in what I know. Again, the height is still 2 because it's the same height that I was working with. Area equals to 1 times 2 divided by 2. Well, we know that 1 times 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. So one triangle is 1 inch squared. So if I have 2 triangles, 1 times 2 is 2. So my triangles, both of them together, would be 2 inches squared. That's both together, right? Area, there we go, area. So now what do I need to do is to add them together. I need to add my rectangle answer and add it to my triangles. Again, this was 1 inch squared, this was 1 inch squared, both of them together are 2 inches squared. And I get 6 inches plus 2 inches, which is 8 inches. That means the area of my trapezoid equals 8 inches squared, which is exactly the same answer that I got when I used my formula. I find the formula easier to use, but hey, if you don't remember it or you're just not easy about it yet, you can break it into complex shapes and then put all your answers together. Hope this clears things up. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a lovely day. Remember, washy washy, happy happy, healthy healthy.